Okay, so I'm here with YGF, the man, and we're going to go today through a two call close system that producers can use to get high ticket sales and work with on custom beats or maybe sell a beat pack. I think this strategy works really well for artists because you it's not well technically when you pitch a call to them for the first time to make an introduction, it has different names in it depending on who's teaching it. Some people call it discovery call, some people call it introduction call, some people call it a triage call. So there's so many different names for it, so it kind of just use whatever name. Oh, some people call it a casual call as well. It really just depends on what feels natural to your business. But essentially, what you do on these calls is instead of pitching them to go straight on a sales call with you and trying to close them there, because I think that does add a lot of friction towards artists when they know that they're going to be sold to. So when they, for example, the beauty of having like essentially a triage call before the actual sales call is that it allows you to, if somebody, for example, says, "Are you trying to sell me something?" or "I don't want to buy anything," or like "I don't want to be sold to," you can legitimately say ethically that I'm not trying to sell anything to you on this call. All I'm trying to do is make an introduction and just to get to know you, so I can introduce myself, understand where you're at, just learn a little bit about each other, and create and take the step to create the relationship with you. And then if it makes sense, then I'd walk you through what it looks like, potentially working with us, and we can talk about what that looks like, but only if it makes sense. But really, my intention with this initial call is to make an introduction with you. So you can literally say like you're not selling them anything because you could hop on the call, on the casual call, whatever you want to call it, and realize that this person is just not a good fit, and then you don't sell them anything, or you don't have to take them to the next stage of your funnel. So it actually, I think it creates less friction for some people, um, and just gets more calls going and helps you build a little bit more rapport than just hopping on straight into a sales call. I'm not saying that it doesn't work; it definitely works. But if you're struggling in that sense to just get on a one call close, and you want to build a little bit more rapport and you want to like build that relationship before you even talk about the business side of things, I think doing the two call close is really good. Because I know that you mentioned, Pete, that you feel like a scammer when
Yeah, I always
in the
got this
call.
like guilt, but I know it's like not like a true thing.
Yeah, what's behind that though? Like, why do you feel that way?
I don't know. I think it's just the fact that I'm actually like asking for money. Like first, like it was always the same system for me. People just like come to my store and buy something, and I don't really like they come to me and basically pay for my stuff, and I don't like have to like I'm just like not involved in like the payment because it's like a transaction like on Amazon. But now it's different because now I'm actually like in person talking to them, and a lot of these artists they got this like I don't know, like a lot of them got this mindset of that they think that I don't know, like producers are like some kind of like charity organization, and that they just like work for free. And like when I'm then talking to them, and they think like okay, everything is going pretty well and everything, and then it comes to the payment part, it's like always the same stuff. And when they react in a certain way, which is like in like a negative way towards like the money thing, then I feel like I'm kind of like like a bit scammy. But I like like when I think about it, it's like pretty stupid because I just know that the stuff I'm actually offering is helpful and is good. I just like kind of need to get this out of my head. But I think the two call close system is pretty good because not just that you get to know the artist and get to know like their situation if you can actually help them, but it also creates like a good mindset in your head, I think, because you're going into the call not just like even if you go into a sales call without like the thing with like okay, I want to make the sale. I think if you go into like the introduction call, there's like no like that like in my head there's like zero like don't think about like the sale at all, and that's
Yeah.
just I think that's actually the thing that helps me the most with it, because then I can like talk so freely to the artist and yeah, just like focus 100% on what the artist is actually telling me. And then in the next call, I can like get more into detail about everything. And then, of course, like the investment part comes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if that's a big barrier for you, where there's that pressure for you to like need to perform in in a sales and setting, and you can just remove that by adding a simple like it could literally sometimes be 15-minute call,
Yeah.
15 to 30-minute call, even 30-minute might be pushing it, just to make an introduction and just show that person you're a real person. You have your intention is to help and to understand and build a relationship and connect. And then at the end of that, if you're really vibing, then you can say like, yeah, I mean, I've been really enjoying this conversation that we're having at the moment. Like, I really like your music as well. Would you be open to me walking you through how we could take the next steps to working together? And they
Yeah.
like most of the time, if the conversation's good and you feel the vibe is right, like they'll be like, of course. There's a few different ways you can go about that because so the guys I do sales for, and when I was doing the production as well, what I would do is I would say this is how we work, and we kind of quickly structure it. We used to offer a trial session, so it could be something that you do. I think like just focus on getting better at sales, to be honest, and you don't have to offer
Yeah.
the trial session. But at the end of that, like essential, like a little bit of a pitch of like what the next step is, walking them through like what the check. I call the sales call a check-in call. Some people call it a vibe session. Um,
Or,
depends, like how you like. You can have you can come up with a fancy name for it, whatever suits you. But at the end of it, like I would say, and just let's say we're in a perfect world, like everything's aligned. Like it really makes sense for us to work together. Would you be willing to move forward in the next call and put down a deposit, a small deposit, so that they know like that you're going to collect some sort of commitment from them on the next call.
is that what you like say at the end of the introduction
Yeah,
call?
I just say like let's say it's a perfect world and it really makes sense for us to both work together and like you want to work with me and I want to work with you. Would you be willing to move forward with a small deposit on the next call just so we know that you're committed?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you could be like, for example, the guys I do sales for, we take 10%. I think we're gonna move now more to like taking half, kind of like what
Okay.
I do in my system. Um, and like, if you're like really not feeling confident, you could just literally say $50. Like, would you be willing to move forward with a $50 deposit, or like
Okay.
literally nothing? Like, just collect some cash. So, because if they like, I think the big thing that Jeremy's taught me, my sales mentor, is that like they can say that they're committed, but their actions aren't matching what they're saying. Like what they're verbally saying is not matching what their actions are saying. So people take action with their wallet. So if they're not willing to take action with their wallet, it means there's some sort of thing that you need to clear up. And there's some sort of uncertainty in you, maybe trust or whatever. Like there's an objection that needs to be handled. But just like literally just being able to collect that small deposit just gives you the like, okay, this person's committing with their wallet, not just with
Yeah.
saying that they want to work with you. And I think just collecting anything is better than nothing.
Definitely. Definitely.
So
And it's
yeah, I
also
think
because that kind of like creates this. They kind of like, I don't know how to say it in English, but they kind of like committed in their head, right? If they put like anything down, basically,
yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
it's like not about the amount of the money, but actually like the that they put down anything for it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously, the more the better. The more that somebody
yeah, of
commits up
course.
front, usually like the more committed they are in general. But just like it just gives you that like certainty that like, well, they they're committing with their wallet, so they're not just completely talking rubbish about wanting to work with you, and then when it actually comes to an investment, they're not actually willing. So, and you can, and then like I remember some guy, this sales guy, he gave me this piece of advice that I thought was pretty good that I've used a few times was when they don't want to move forward with the deposit, it's like hey man, like I've done hundreds of these calls, and like usually when somebody doesn't want to move forward with the deposit, even if it's only $50, it means that maybe there's some uncertainty on your end within like the process. Like I just want to ask you, like, is there anything that I mentioned in the offer today that is like unclear to you or uncertain, or is in terms of we the value that's being provided? And then you can kind of go back into it if they don't want to move forward with
Yeah.
like $50. So
Okay, yeah, makes sense, makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, I think like on the last calls, I kind of like always like forgot the money framing, and I always like it was always like a mutual connection, but I forgot to like take the authority and actually like say, okay, like this is like professional service, and this of course like costs money and stuff. But yeah, I just like after the calls, I just basically framed them in the DMs, like wrote them like a quick message about that, and yeah, I think it would definitely be better to do it on the call right away. I always like in the last calls, I kind of like saw that it's always like way better if you be like open to the artist, because then I mean basically the worst thing that can happen is that they're like telling you upfront, okay, like I don't gonna, or like I don't got the money, or I don't want to pay you or anything like that, and it's basically it's always saving you time, because like when you have the clarity, you then know, okay, like like there's not this moment where you like go into the next call and then pitch something, and then they're like, okay, bro, like what is this? Like I thought we were doing like a collab or anything like that,
yeah,
because like
yeah.
a lot of
So
these
it's
artists
very
don't do that,
transparent.
like splits, yeah, like
Yeah,
these
dude. I've
assessments
been
and
in
stuff.
some yeah, I've been in some awkward situations when I started off last year where we'd kind of do like an introduction call, but we wouldn't say that this is like paid essentially. And then we got in some awkward situations where they're like, we're doing like a session and they're like, or we're doing a trial session or whatever. And then at the end, we're talking about like moving forward and like what the rates are and stuff. And they're like, wait, I thought this was a collab. And we're like, oh my
Yeah,
God. So it's always really good to be very upfront because it avoids some really awkward. Because we were in that situation, it was mad awkward because it was an in person session as well. It wasn't even online. Like they were at our house. So it
what?
was like super awkward, and like oh my god, we need to make sure that this never happens again because it was just so awkward.
Oh yeah. And what did you like? Like how did the situation actually came up like that? Like you never talked about the like anything about like money or investment before
Yeah,
that?
it's just because I
Crazy.
simply didn't know early last year that like you need to be really upfront about the money things. You can't make an assumption that they think that this is like a paid service. Some people will just assume that it's a collaboration.
For sure.
So yeah, just really just don't make that assumption because it's going to make some awkward situations later for sure.
Yeah, I also think that, bro. I mean, like a lot of these, just like a lot of these artists, they all have like this similar mindset when it comes like to the production of their stuff, and yeah, I think it's always like I've been like on a call yesterday with like an Indian artist and he
They were in
also
India
like
or they were just like Indian.
now he was actually in India, but he's actually like I know what you're thinking, but
Yeah.
he's like bro, he's like an event manager and stuff, and he does like insane, like huge football like events in New Delhi. So I think
Okay.
he's definitely like he got the money,
Okay.
but
Okay. Cool.
he's like we actually talked about the money stuff too, and he was like he also like said okay like it's like it creates like some kind of like mutual respect and some kind of like it's always like he said that it's always like a like for him it's like a sure thing that he pays his like producer, and we basically talked like crazy open about like the money stuff, and I thought that was like really like an eye opener for me, that it's like way better to talk like about the money stuff just like upfront and like like really clear, and just like also like with the budgets and stuff, so we can actually, you know, like make it work, and yeah, not just like assume stuff, you know. And it was actually the second call with him too. So yeah, I like, to be honest, I didn't pitch him anything on that call because like I wanted to pitch him something, but he came up with like a different idea, and then I was like a bit unsure about like the money because I never like sold something like that. He instead of like my normal thing, he wanted like I think like a 3 song project, and I never like done 3 song projects, so I like don't want to like just tell him like a random number to that we're gonna do it, you know. So yeah, I think we were just gonna do like another one. But yeah, I think
Another
there I
call.
just like realized that the 2 call system is really good, because then in the first call we just like talked about his vision and everything, and on the second call we could actually go into the details and, you know, like the actual production stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you actually get on the check-in call slash sales call, um, you have so much more ammunition to work with instead of like starting from scratch. Like
Yeah.
you can reference so much of the discovery call or the introduction call in the sales call, like by saying, "Oh, you mentioned this, and then you mentioned that," and then you can like just you don't have to start from zero, which is also good. So
Yeah.
in a sense, you've already prepared for the call. And then you have like,
Definitely.
if you record your calls, which you should be doing, you can watch them back and you can just put the transcript into ChatGPT and ask for all the key pain points and like prepare specific questions based on your offer as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can prepare for the call.
I actually was about to say exactly that, because I been working, you know, like with Fathom, and just basically taking the transcript of the call, putting it into Claude, and then just like basically asking, okay, like what does he actually gave me to work with, and then you can like clearly see, okay, there, for example, I I also like always see, okay, like Claude's telling me, okay, like you could use that chance to reframe him, you could use that chance to kind of like upsell them. I don't know, like, you know what I mean. Basically just like certain signs that he's like really committed to do it, you know.
Yeah, for real, for real. Yeah. Okay, so just to summarize, just for everybody, the two call close I think is really good for people who feel nervous about selling or like people feeling like they're being sold to, because the first call you can literally say that you're not selling anything and your intention is not to sell. It's to simply make it an introduction, connect with the artist, understand what they're doing, and then if it makes sense, then you can explain how you typically work with artists in your creative process. And that just completely disarms them in that sense where they don't feel like they're going to hop on a call and you're going to try and collect $1,000 from them on the spot sort of thing. So it creates that there's the barrier of tension is reduced for both you, the producer, and the artist, because it's communicated up front that there is nothing going to be sold on that call specifically. And then you can use all that ammunition and prepare for the call by recording that discovery, and prepare questions, prepare angles, watch it back to understand what kind of person that you're dealing with, so that when you're actually hopping on the sales call, you're not starting from zero and you have all this information and context where you can just begin and you have that rapport that you've already built with them. So yeah, I think the two call close is really good if you've been struggling to get on calls in the first place, because there's really nothing to lose for anybody there except maybe 15 to 30 minutes of your time.